What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm back with a recap. Season 1, Episode 3 of The Penguin. Yes, it is the Penguin time. This episode focuses a little bit more on Vince and gets a little bit more into his past and sees where was Vince when the bombs went off, when the levees broke. And we get to see a little bit more of his backstory, so he gets more of a color in his character in terms of, oh, he had a family. Oh, look at that. This is what he was. He was a normal person, just doing normal things before becoming the Penguin's right-hand man. So the episode kind of is mostly from his perspective. It's definitely the most screen time Vince has had the whole time. And it ties into Penguin is trying to work with Sofia on getting this drug out there into the marketplace. He doesn't even know what it is. And he's surprised to find out that it's like mushrooms, but they're very specific mushrooms. And he's like, he says, you know, I know you've been around, you've been gone for a while, but you can pretty much go into any dorm and just find shrooms, you know. And Sofia's just like, yeah, it's not that. It's basically it's the drug. It's what they use to sedate people in Arkham, and she has found a way to get the drug, and now she's gonna sedate Gotham with it. Basically, it's gonna take over as a new drug, and Penguin's gonna help because Sofia's also Johnny, played by Michael Kelly, who's doing an excellent job of being incredibly obnoxious. Is kind of standing in the way and is being overtly a douchebag, and basically tells Sofia that she can, if she doesn't leave and go to Italy, he's just gonna kill her. He's like, listen, you have 2 days. You can either go to Italy or I can say you went to Italy. And I was like, is that a threat? Isn't she a killer? Like, are you not remotely afraid of her? Didn't she go to Arkham for killing people? So I don't know. He has just platinum balls, which obviously he does because he's sleeping with the boss's wife, which they use against him. They go in there and because they need him to side with Sofia so that they can get the Triad to distribute the drugs. They, because the Triad isn't willing to back the two of them on their play unless they know that they've also got Johnny. And so that's how they get Johnny, is by using this affair that they've mentioned previously that he's been having. So Sofia and Penguin become closer, but she's also a little hesitant because she knows that he was the one who turned him in, so she doesn't know if she can trust him. And he just excellent moment there, right there at the end, where Penguin's like, "Let me prove it to you," and then, oh my god, talk about a complete 180 on that life choice. That's like, don't worry, I'm gonna land this plane and then like nose diving it into the water and just being like, I'm gonna do the complete opposite here. So yeah, definitely Sofia. I don't know what the next couple episodes are gonna be like, but if Sofia's still alive, Sofia will not trust Penguin. I don't know that Penguin can show his face in the Falcone family anymore. I really don't even know what can happen from I'm so intrigued beyond this point. So this is obviously like the Act 1 version of the Penguin, and now the Penguin he's definitely back up against the wall and cut off from everything. So they go to a club and they introduce this drug, Bliss is the new name for the drug. And Vince is out on the floor, and they got the girls, and one of them is Penguin's girl. And they're going out and they're selling Bliss to the crowd and showing it off to the Triads, being like, look at what, look how popular it is, and you can either partner with us or we'll partner with one of your rivals, basically. And of course, he doesn't like the idea because I guess Carmine didn't treat the Triads very well. So they were kind of in, and she's like, I'm not my father. So yeah, everything seems to be going great. She even gets like a quasi apology from Penguin, who finally is willing to vocalize the fact that, he sold her out, and which is kind of what she's been looking for in this whole like trust of the new relationship, because he's been basically with her this whole time, helping her set up, and people are like, what does he get out of it? Johnny points out, like, you can't really trust Penguin, and which Sofia realizes is probably true, so she keeps pushing him on that. Meanwhile, Penguin's doing a really great job of setting up Vince, who he doesn't know at the same time that Vince's girlfriend is trying to get him to leave town with her. So Vince is in this struggle of, do I leave town with my girlfriend or do I stay? And if I leave, will Penguin try to kill me? How can I even get out of this life? Like, or am I in forever? And I really love that Penguin gives Vince so many great little moments. Like the moment when Vince's setter was acting up at the restaurant and the waiter tries to like finish the statement for him. And Penguin was like, the man was trying to speak, don't do that. I thought that was a great moment. And then later on, he tells him to take up space, that he's important, he's worthy, and deserves to be there. So he's got to learn to take up space. He gives him lots of great advice. So it's really just like a good episode. Previously, the first two episodes, it felt like Penguin was just kind of using him because he didn't have anybody else. In this episode, he actually kind of seemed like he was more mentoring him and giving him the kind of advice that would shape him into being a better henchman or right-hand man or whatever for Penguin. Like Penguin was trying to shape him and build him up instead of just yelling at him. So, yeah. Penguin doesn't really have that many people under him working for him that he can talk to or trust. So I think you see kind of a different dynamic that's being built in this episode. And also, he is kind of having that dynamic with Sofia. It's just that when Shohei Dashalu shows up and she's like, Penguin, I've been watching you, like with her family and with the Maronis, and she's got Penguin and Sofia on the ground, like she's gonna execute both of them. And we got our boy coming in. We didn't know if he was gonna leave or if he was gonna stay, but I guess he's gonna stay. And he saves Penguin's life, and Penguin gets in the car, and they're like, what about Sofia? And he's like, just drive. And I was like, oh, so that big speech you just gave about Sofia with the whole let me show you. Also, he would have had to explain what the hell this lady was talking about when she got out of the car and was talking to Penguin. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it was really just a Penguin backed into a corner situation, and he was offered like a 2-second window to run, basically, when Vince pulls up at the car. And because he ran, that also means he left Sofia behind. So if Sofia's still alive, which I'm imagining she probably is, although that would be a huge twist for the show, if Sofia just suddenly up and they killed her off like Game of Thrones style, like surprise, you thought we were building up this as a lead character, you were wrong. And then play out the ramifications of what that would mean for Penguin. But I don't know. I'm super excited for episode 4 because I don't know where Penguin's at. Penguin seems to be without, uh, you know, he's a boat without a port. He's just floating. He can't dock anywhere. He can't go to the Maronis. He can't go to the Falcones. He can't really go anywhere that people would find him. He's just got Vince in his car. So what does he do? What does he do? How does Penguin get himself out of this? And the thing is that we're at episode 3, so you're like, well, they got a season of episodes here still. So this isn't like a 4-part series. So they have to do it in a way where he really has to punch back or climb back up and get out of this somehow. And I don't know how he's going to do that. So now I already thought the series was excellent, and now I'm like really intrigued because they threw this curveball so early and so randomly. He was just having this great conversation with Sofia, and I was like, oh, we're building up this trust. I really like this. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this instead. And I was like, why would you do that right now? We were just, oh my God. So, what an excellent just bomb drop at the end of this episode. So love it. I love the Penguin. I think this is an excellent series. The audio description is just 100% on point. Ren Leach is killing the narration, so I've got no complaints. I liked even the homage that we have here with a little bit of visual effects and stuff. I'm sure happened for the when the bombs went off for the Riddler. I thought that was really interesting, and getting to see that family dynamic for Vince, I think, brings a lot of his character into perspective. You hear him talk about how his father, he thinks his father's underpaid. He's like, you really should be paid what you're worth, and don't you want more than this? And it introduces the idea that Vince wants more from life than what he had, which is one of the reasons why when Penguin's flashing him and is willing to pay him like $1,000 a week, he's like, what? Like, wow, we've never seen that kind of money. But also he has panic attacks and stuff, and he just misses his family, because if you remember when the series started, it started like a week after that, basically. So this was like not a whole lot of time had passed. So this is still very fresh for Vince. We're not that far removed from the events. So yeah, he's still dealing with trauma, and certain things just kind of set him off, and he gets kind of set off this episode. But really just a brilliant episode. Well done, and what a curveball at the end, and I can't wait for next week. So I'm gonna give the Penguin an A, like I have every other episode. It's amazing. I've said it before, I feel like this is directed by Martin Scorsese, and I feel like this is the best compliment I could give it, is that it feels like one of those, like a great crime drama that's directed by somebody who is known for directing great crime dramas, not just tangentially related people to the Penguin. You know what I'm saying? Not just like TV directors. It feels like it's really well crafted in the best of ways by like the people who made stuff like Goodfellas. And it's got an energy and the right characters and the right drama and the right setup and the right twists and turns and the rises and falls ahead of it that I'm sure we're going to have, and characters rise and characters fall. I'm intrigued to know whether or not they're going to try to set this up as a multi-season show, or whether or not it's just going to be a one and done. So many things, so many questions, but we'll talk about it next week. Until then, I'll see you guys on the other side.